You're listening to the Exhibitionist podcast, hosted by Nicola Reeder and brought to you by inspiringexhibitors.com and Pro Extra, a wholly owned subsidiary of 12th Man Solutions Limited.
Hi there and welcome to episode 17 of the Exhibitionist, the podcast. Thank you once again for joining us and it's great to have you listening. So it has been a frantic few weeks for us over at Pro Extra. Not only did we have the book launch that we were talking to you about on the last show, and thank you to everybody who's bought a copy as we managed to land bestseller status in 2 categories on Amazon, so thank you. But we're also just back in the office today after 2 weeks back-to-back out on shows. And we will be handing over very shortly to a conversation we had after day 1 of the FIT show a couple of weeks ago with 4 organisations that were exhibiting at the show, and they'll be chatting to us about everything that they were doing in preparation, and now that day 1 had gone live, everything they had wished they had done in preparation. However, before we get to that conversation, we wanted to just share with you some thoughts we had about the difference between B2B and B2C shows, as it has become really apparent to us over the last couple of weeks about some of the similarities. We often get asked by clients, what do you need to do differently if you're preparing for a direct-to-consumer show versus a direct-to-business show? So the last 2 weeks, we've seen the best of both of these worlds, and we did a week at the FIT show, which is the industry-leading event for windows, doors and conservatories at the NEC, where we were managing their theatres. So we had 70 speakers across 50 different sessions, but also had a really good opportunity to walk around and see what exhibitors were doing in that industry. Having had 3 or 4 days at the NEC, we then headed straight down to Shepton Mallet to the Royal Bath and West Showground, where we were running a team of brand ambassadors on the Lactalis McClelland stand during the Royal Bath and West show. If you're not aware, Lactalis McClelland are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, dairy company globally. In the UK, they would be known for brands including Seriously Cheese, Orkney Cheddar, and also have some joint interests in products like Rachel's Organic and other Nestle yogurt brands. And that was a direct-to-consumer show where we were actually giving samples to lots and lots of people visiting the show, but also trying to get them to buy some cheese on the day. So there was a sales element to it. Very different shows with very different objectives. So during the FIT show, when we were talking to exhibitors, they were very much thinking about how did they meet people, build relationships, establish a connection, and understand whether the person, the visitor that they were speaking to, could potentially add value to their business and buy from them in the future. At the Royal Bath and West show with Lactalis McClelland, it was very much about actually introducing them to some cheeses they may not be aware of, but trying to make a sale on the day and actually trying to sell the 2 trailer loads of cheese that we had in a cool room out of the back of the show. So what were the similarities and what were the differences? Well, 2 things for us actually really struck us as being very, very similar. And that's helping to solve problems and leveraging an investment and legacy from the money that you put into an event. So if you take that first one, it's about helping solve problems. And so often, whether you're exhibiting at a B2C or a B2B show, you're thinking about what's important to you, what's the innovation you want to launch, what's the education you want to give somebody, what's the big product that you want to sell this year, and not really thinking about it in the visitor's shoes. What do they come into that event for? What do they want to learn? So, for example, at the FIT show, many fabricators were visiting thinking, we need new hardware products, we need to understand what the latest innovations are going to be to help make windows more secure, to help make homes more secure, to make them less noisy. That's actually what consumers are looking for. So the trends in the market are saying that we need our windows to be even better protection for keeping our homes safe, minimising noise from increased road usage or air traffic or anything else that's around you, and actually just being quite smart and connected in a way that every other part of our life's been connected. And installers were coming along to that show wanting to know about the latest tools or the latest legislation that they needed to be aware of to keep them ahead of their competitors or keep their installations safe. So they were all coming with a problem that they needed solving and an innovation they were looking for at the show. You might think a family of 4 coming along to a family day out at what is essentially an agricultural show wouldn't have any problems that they needed solving at the Royal Bath and West show. They were just here to see the sheep and the cows and the pigs, and believe me, there were a lot of sheep and cows and pigs, and when you put that many animals in one place, I can still smell it now. But it was a great week, and if you think about some of the problems they might have been coming to the Lactalis McClellan stand for, it could be, I don't actually know how to serve brie, I don't know when I should eat it. Why, when I'm melting my cheese or making cheese on toast, is everything just going a bit floppy? And actually, they were looking for more creative and more inspiring ways to consume cheese, to serve it differently. And that's what they were really interested in. They weren't just there to buy cheese. They were there to have an experience and to be educated and actually find out something new and different. So we were solving a problem there for them about how do they cook a better meal for their family? How do they serve a better cheese board at a dinner party? What's the best cheese to take on a picnic that isn't going to melt for them? Actually, what's the heritage? What's the kind of milk that goes into one cheese versus another, and what does that mean in terms of taste? So they were all problems that they maybe didn't know that they had until they started talking to us. And we were able, through the team, to talk to them about these are some of the solutions that will make things better for you. So that's one thing that whoever is going to a show, they are looking for some kind of engagement, some kind of entertainment, but also something that they can learn and take away and add value. And the second thing was about leveraging that investment. So we were really surprised at the level of spend on a lot of the stands at the Fit Show. There were some phenomenal stands. There were double-deckers, there were gin bars, there were live DJs, and a huge amount of money had gone into, particularly the opening night where the stands were open longer, in creating an atmosphere and creating an experience. But actually, the stands that seemed to do really well from the feedback from exhibitors we spoke to were those where they really thought about leveraging that investment and the legacy they were leaving. We've spoken to Maco UK on a previous podcast episode, and Mark is part of our panel that we'll be handing over to in a minute. But they'd really thought about what did they want to introduce at the show, how are they going to collect the data from people, and how are they going to follow up that data in a meaningful way. So it might mean that actually they took less leads from this show than they have done at previous events, but they're significantly more valuable leads and ones that they know are meaningful and have the highest potential to add value. So they've already done that first phase of filtering, which means they can really hit the ground running on day one back in the office with conversations that they know have the best chance of converting to a sale. And that's the legacy of the investment. And that was true across all of the different exhibitors that we spoke to that had really thought about what's the meaningful conversation we're starting here, not just what's the gin that we're serving or have we got the loudest singer in the room. It was about what's the legacy, where do we go from here? And in 2 years' time, how will we look back and think, yep, Fit Show 2019 really was the catalyst to the next stage in our journey. Likewise, at the Royal Bath and West Show, there were lots of exhibitors in the gift and food area where they were hoping not just to make their money back on the day, on the investment in the stand and the stock, but also in terms of how can they build relationships with people for the future. So, for example, there was a fantastic jewellery stall, and I might have purchased a couple of pieces from there. Really great team there. They sold them on the day, but they also had a card that gave you a special code for having been at the Royal Bath and West Show for all internet purchases in the next 12 months from the show. So that's building that legacy that doesn't just say, I'm going to spend £25 or £50 on a piece of jewellery on that day. It means I'm going to keep going back to that site over the next 12 months because I've now got a unique code for me that gives me a discount. Equally, working with our client like Talis, thinking about their legacy for the future, it wasn't just about let's introduce people to brie or camembert for the day. Let's talk about a brand and the heritage and the milk and the cheese coming from the Somerset region, and how do we actually get people to buy into the cheese category and maybe widen the portfolio of varieties of cheese that they would eat beyond the show itself. It's not just about them trying it that one day and then never buying it again. It's about trying to establish this legacy for the future and really leveraging that distribution and those sales beyond just that one day. So people often think that B2B and B2C shows you approach very differently, and one is about driving revenue and one's about actually building relationships. And in some ways, people would be right. There's no black and white answer to one's one thing and one's the other. But I think the real commonalities around these two shows are that wherever you're exhibiting, whichever event you're investing in, you're helping to solve somebody's problem through entertainment, education, and adding value. And it might be a problem they don't even necessarily know they have before they come and speak to you. And secondly, it's about really successful execution is being able to leverage that value and that investment beyond the one day. It doesn't stop when the show closes at 5 o'clock on the final day. It's about what have we got in place to make sure that everything we've done in the run-up to that show, not just the money, but the time and the effort and the energy, actually leads to something meaningful that builds the business beyond just this one marketing tactic. So we have had a fantastic, if slightly shattering, couple of weeks. Half a day back in the office, and I already cannot wait to get back on the show floor for Global Exhibitions Day tomorrow at Automechanica in Birmingham. So we look forward to seeing you there. We're going to hand over now to that conversation that I mentioned we'd had with some of the Fit Show exhibitors, with some great value advice in there about how they've prepared for their event. So we hope you enjoy the show. So on this week's episode of the Exhibitionist podcast, we are delighted to be recording this live from the Fit Show in Birmingham, and we have a fantastic panel of exhibitors here who've been having a great first day at the show, and I wanting to share with you their thoughts on what's gone well so far and what they're looking forward to. We have maybe had a little drink of beer to celebrate our first day, so we're going to have some fun on this one most definitely. But I'll start by introducing the panel to you. I'm going to hand over to our previous panellist, our previous guest on the show. So Mark, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Mark Enderby. I'm the marketing exec at Maco UK. We're a premium window and door hardware supplier for the fenestration industry here in the UK.
Brilliant, thank you Mark. And we're now on to Amy.
Hi, my name is Amy Jansen and I am the marketing and projects manager for the Boing Boing Group, which is Central RPL, Central ASL, and Colour Seal Midlands.
Well done. Quite a mouthful, but well done. And welcome to the show. So thanks, Amy. We're next on to Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm the head of marketing for Edgetech UK, with also responsibility in kind of the Asia Pacific and South Africa regions too. Get around a bit.
Brilliant, and yeah, sounds like nice travel. And then we've got a duo, the famous two appearing for us from Alutech. So we've got Steve and we've got Becky. So if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
So I'm Steve Hudson, and I'm the founder also of the 2CV Challenge, which is a charity to raise £100,000 for dementia driving an old car back from the French Alps.
Fantastic. We'll hear more about that in the show, no doubt, sure. Definitely. And Becky?
I'm Becky Taylor, and I do the marketing for Alutech Systems and JD UK, which is a systems house and aluminium systems house and garage door supplier in the UK.
Brilliant. Well, welcome to all our panel. And I have to say, having been speaking to Becky for the last couple of weeks, I'm from not far away from where Becky works, and it's just been lovely every time to hear that Yorkshire accent that I don't really have quite as much anymore. So again, I'm going to start with you, Mark, just to ease everybody in gently to this one. But so thinking back maybe 12, 18 months ago when you first decided to exhibit at the Fit Show, what were you as an organisation thinking you wanted to achieve? What were your objectives? What was the reason for investing in the show?
Yeah, it's a really good question. This year, for the first time at this exhibition, we actually set out quite a really good plan of objectives that we wanted to achieve out of the show. The big one was mainly around our product launch. We launched a new product at the show today, the Mark V telescopic X-Bag, and a lot of it focused around that, and that's gone spectacularly today. And again, around a few of the other products, including our automatic door lock, our panoramic lift and slide, as well as a few other things. And we actually set objectives around marketing in terms of branding. So we had our key messages of creating innovation that we wanted to make sure we talked to the media partners about. We bring some really exciting concepts that we wanted to make sure that everyone got to see those and know about those. So that was really important this time around.
So mainly innovation for you. And Amy, how about your organisation?
I'm going to say innovation is a big one for us. There's so much exciting stuff happening in the industry. And for us specifically, we're working along with the Smart windows and doors. And we've also created a marketing portal because it's incredibly important for us to be able to see our customers succeed. And for them to do that, they need to have all of the tools that they can possibly lay their hands on. So we've launched Central Hub this year, and that was a huge focus for us, is so that we can engage with our current customers and to educate them and to show them what is available.
Brilliant, and that's really interesting because so often we hear from clients that we work with that exhibitions are all about just new and trying to see new people. So interesting to hear from you that it's actually existing customers and trying to help them succeed.
It's those relationships that make our business succeed, and if we haven't engaged with them properly, we're not doing our job. The product is almost secondary for us. It's that customer intimacy that we're able to achieve, and so offering them tools like the Central Hub, it just means that everybody wins.
That ties into a big thing of why we do exhibitions as well, because in our kind of area of the industry, there's 860 companies tops that we can go out to. So we've either had conversations with them already, they know us. So if we're meeting someone for the first time at an exhibition, we've done something wrong because we should know everybody there. It's not about kind of this kind of gathering new contacts for us. It's more about reconnecting with the ones that we've got and showing them kind of the new things that we have to offer now. So we were launching a new product today, a new rigid spacebar. We were also launching some new services for customers. So again, going down that kind of digital route, the same as Amy. So we've got kind of a new inspection system which our technical guys can use out on the roads to kind of help people support their quality, and then a new e-commerce system as well that we were launching. So we were able to demonstrate that live on stand and show people just how easy it is to use, because a lot of our customers have kind of expressed an interest in it, but they were like, it needs to be simple and that. So we were able to let them get kind of hands-on with it today and really experience it before they kind of commit to that time to get to know the system. So it's really good.
Brilliant. It is. It's just so refreshing to hear people saying we want to meet some existing contacts.
And so often, especially in my role, you hear about customers, you speak to them on phones and emails, but it's that face-to-face that I miss having. And so it's a real joy to be able to shake their hands and see them
up close. And you guys from Alutech, what were you thinking your objectives were for being here?
I'm just going to talk about the 2CV challenge. I'll let you talk about Alutech.
I'm from an Alutech systems point of view. I sort of joined the team 7 months ago, having with Fit Show already quite well underway. But in the 2 years that Alutech had previously appeared at Fit Show, there'd been a lot of growth, a lot of rapid growth in terms of the portfolio, the customer base, raising brand awareness. So I think a lot about Fit Show this year was bringing that all together to show the progress and the journey that the company had been on. But definitely to engage with existing customers. Still, new customers is relevant to us because we've not yet met everybody, but there's definitely been an acknowledgement of what of our presence and our offer. So it's bringing all that together. But I think the main part of it was really just to present how the difference in what we offer in terms of what our other customers might be used to from the industry or from other suppliers. So it was a lot about communicating the personality and culture of the company, and to do that, I think face to face is still so important. Even you can use online tools, but still putting a face to the company, and having that sort of personal engagement that is fun as well as talking about product is still so important, and you can do that all at an exhibition.
I think the cultures and the values bit of the business is the kind of integral part then for the 2CV Challenge. So the 2CV Challenge is, as I mentioned earlier, is me driving back from the Alps in the middle of winter next year and doing a load of crazy bets and challenges on the way back to be able to raise that kind of money. And I chose that way of doing it rather than the corporate way of sponsorship and what have you, because within our business life, in our day-to-day life, it's very much about culture and values that you talked about, and injecting a bit of fun, injecting a bit of humility into what it is that we do, and challenging some of the kind of mediocrity of supply that can exist somewhere within the industry, and they're then quite well aligned. And I think the joy for me is just standing by the car on the stand and just seeing people stop and look at it and say, "What's that doing there? What are you hoping to achieve by that? We thought we were going to come and see some windows." And then you get talking to them and the engagement, because it's just a bit different. It's just a little bit crazy. And then people go away and somebody else comes along and talks about it and says, "Will you tell me about it?" And then you talk then about aluminium and why we do aluminium as well. So marries up well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's been brilliant.
People tend to like stories, don't they? They'll engage with it. And I can imagine that seeing a car on the stand at a windows and door trade show isn't what they're expecting. We've got a giraffe on ours.
I saw the giraffe.
A real giraffe?
Unfortunately, no. That she had another show, so we've got her standing. But it is. People come up and they ask questions.
Yeah.
And especially when it is for a good cause. We're raising funds for gym fundraising in Hope House. Exactly. So we're from Russia with Love, and they're cycling.
Yes.
Was it 12 countries in 10 days? My fitness level just freaks out at that, and I'm only talking about it.
Yeah.
So there's a team of them. But it is, once you've got that engagement and they've engaged with your story and your cause, it's quite easy to then talk about what else you're doing on the stand.
They're actually much more interested.
And they are, because they're personally...
what happens with you as an individual, I think. And,
because they can see that the culture and the ethics behind your business is human.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it works.
And it's again a really important point for anyone who's listening, just thinking about how do you go beyond your brand and beyond your product to think about how you actually bring your people and your team and their personalities through in what you're talking about, because that's what people want to see. They can find out about the tech specs or lead times or any of those kind of things on a website, but what is it that you can bring to your stand that's you?
And I also think it's really important to remember as a company that you are a member of a community, and that it's ignorant and arrogant to stand in your community without engaging and giving back. Mm-hmm. And so it's really lovely to see how many socially aware companies we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all brilliant in terms of all the things that you were looking forward to and what you were hoping to achieve from the show. Anything anybody was really nervous or anxious about when they started their planning? What was scaring you?
So we had a new group corporate design that was applied across Maco after a lot of research. It was done, feedback from customers to try and make our brand more relatable to them, which of course is really important. And we were the first country of groups to take it to an exhibition, so it was quite nerve-wracking to launch that new design and get the feedback from our customers, which has been amazing, which has been the best part of the show so far. Everyone's come on and gone, "I love the new look, it suits, it makes us feel better about us as using Maco as well. It's improved the brand even further." And we're fortunate, we're quite well known, but you've got to keep it at that level, and we've always got to push the boundaries and make sure that we take our partners and our customers with us. So for us, it was taking all this new stuff and making sure it was still relatable to them, which it has been. So that's been a real success out of the nerves that come beforehand.
Brilliant.
It's been good.
How about anybody else? Any other scary moments? Or?
Well, if I can speak from a personal place, I'm not going to get too deep here. This is my first trade show ever. In fact, I'm not from the penetration industry, so my nervousness came from whether or not, as project lead, I'd be able to, in a way that suited. I mean, my project management and event management has all been in the music industry and sort of theatre, because I'm an opera singer, and so when I come to the penetration industry, you're sort of like, oh, this is something completely different. So, like, one of them was, I don't know about stand design. Thankfully, we have a fantastic group, a company that we're working with, but yeah, But like you said, from a company point of view, it is how are your customers going to relate to what you're bringing them.
Definitely.
So for you, it was really the whole package. It's like, where do I start with this?
I was.
Yeah, wow, that is a real change of industry there.
Yes, it is massive. But what I find is that it's really lovely that you've got transferable skills.
Yeah.
Actually, an industry has similar components. It's just got a different wrapping or a different product that you're selling. So, yeah. So personally, it's really lovely to be able to open the stand and it work and for it all to flow smoothly, mostly. But and then also again to be confirmed, have that conversation exactly that what you're doing is going to help them, that they can use it, that they can
relate to it
exactly, and also pass it on in a way that makes sense for them. So yeah.
And Charlotte, anything for you that was keeping you awake at night?
And I was working with a new stand builder, and so it's always like however many, like I've done quite a few exhibitions like in my time now, so it's like, so that side of it wasn't new, but it's kind of every exhibition is kind of different and has its own challenges. And working with a new stand builder, you're not really sure, like all the conversations up to it were going well and the stand design looked great, but always until it's actually there, kind of like you don't really know, do you? And fortunately, it was absolutely brilliant, kind of best one so far with how kind of quickly they got things together and the quality. So thankfully my nerves were kind of unbounded. But I think however long you've been doing it for, like there's always something that's thrown at you. But yeah, no, it's gone really well this time. So all good.
And just on that point, how did you choose a new stand designer? Because it's a really difficult one to change from something you've been using with and you've been happy.
So we always put together a brief so that we're like really clear up front with what we need to get out of it. So there's kind of delivering on the brief, delivering on kind of the creative aspect of it is a really big thing for us. We're like we've had some amazing stands over the years, so it's kind of we really need our stands to kind of deliver that wow factor to kind of make it stand out. And so it's the ones that can kind of come up with the new concept for that year, they did a great job. It was a really clean design, which isn't something that we've gone for before, but they kind of came up with a good design. They had the credentials to back it up. They could kind of point to lots of different stands that we've seen over the years. They're a local company, which means that I could go down and see it being built, so that kind of gives you the confidence that things are going well. And if you need to have those kind of meetings, then it's very easy to kind of do so. So I think that's the main thing for us: creativity, being local, and then having the kind of stands they can point to that back that up. So, yeah.
And you guys from Alutech, anything that was keeping you awake at night?
Personally, again, it was being relatively new to the company and coming in sort of halfway through plans already. With it being 6 months ago, things were already
You're being very generous there.
underway. Well, you are sat here, so I am. I think the thing that the 2CV challenge evolved during the time over the last 6 months while we were making final preparations, and we had to adapt because we realised how core it was to what we were doing and what we stood for as well. So to build that in and adapt plans and evolve plans at such a sort of final stage, shall I say.
It was incredibly disorganised. We only designed the stand about 2 months ago, and then we got it built in that time.
So we had to, so that has the last couple of months have been quite intense, and then just sort of hoping that it all came together, but it did. So.
And for me, the only real worry was trying to get the car here, because it blew up a few weeks ago, so we had to put a new engine in, and then I got it back the day before I needed to drive it down, and I couldn't get a transporter to bring it, so I drove it with just fingers and everything else crossed, and it got here.
Yeah.
So flown.
That's reassuring from the Alps home.
So that's kind of 100 miles to 1,300 miles.
Easy. Nothing.
How does it get into the Alps?
What a challenge it is.
How's the car get into the Alps?
I'm either going to drive it, but more than likely I'll either get somebody else to drive it or get it transported there, because otherwise it's another week out of my life that I need to be doing something else with. But she seems to be going okay. So we keep just kind
Good
of
luck,
patting
Esther.
flow and just saying, come on, folks, just carry on, it will be okay.
Still rooting
So as soon as
for
she
her.
got here and then the stand just got built around us, so
Yeah,
that was okay.
she's very important now, and I don't think she realises that of all the
She's
work,
part of our
she was
lives,
there,
yeah.
and then the whole stand, 12 by 12, just was constructed around
Yeah.
her. She's a lucky girl.
Yeah.
Right, so we're sitting here at the end of day one, and from what everybody's saying, it's been a successful day so far. But any surprises that anyone's had today so far? We've got lots of shaking heads, so...
I think I was pleasantly surprised. Not surprised, but I think I was hoping the seminar was a success. Steve opened the seminar programme this morning, the first seminar in the Discovery Theatre of the first day of the FIT show. We've obviously
And we
supported,
had people turn up.
and we had people turn up, so...
Well, let's put that into context. Before Steve went on stage, he said, "Are we happy if there's 6 in the crowd?" And we got 43.
Yeah, so...
It was really good.
Not
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that sort of set the tone for the rest of the day then. I always knew that once that seminar was over, that I'd relax, but it wasn't just the fact that the seminar was over, it was that it had been such a success and a culmination of all our work leading up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was, a good way to start the day.
Fabulous. It was really good.
And it's worth mentioning at this point, actually, Steve, it's an interesting one because your seminar wasn't on windows and doors, really, was it? It was more around kind of marketing and support. And
Yeah.
so for you as a senior member of your business, what was your thought process behind this is the seminar we want to deliver? That was entirely your choice for the content. So how did you go about deciding what topic you were going to speak about?
We sat and thought about all of the products and what have you, but products are an innate thing that everybody's got. We think we've got something slightly different in the sense of the culture and the beliefs that we have, and it was an attempt to try and just get a little bit over of that to people. Not about us at all. It was more about this is what we believe in as a business and the way that a business should be run. And it was then just sharing those with people. And if they just find a little bit of it useful, then that's fantastic. And the guy that I spoke with is a really good digital marketing guy who talks in plain English. And I could see people in the audience just nodding and saying, actually, we understand what this guy's talking about. And it was that was fabulous. It was really, really good. It was a pleasure to see people nodding rather than going to sleep.
And a few laughs as well. Be more like the hedgehog. I liked that.
That's good, yeah. It was
Be more
Jim-
like the hedgehog.
Jim-
I
Jim
missed that
Collins.
seminar.
And Jim Collins, one of the authors of whatever it was, Good to Great, I think it was, is that one of his beliefs is that you can be like the fox that's good at all sorts of things and is going out hunting whatever it can find, and the hedgehog's only good at one thing, and that's just crawling up into a little ball to repel people like the fox. So in a way, stay with what you're good at was the one of the theories that Dan, the guy that helped me with that seminar, did.
Brilliant.
Good.
Yeah.
And any other surprises from anybody else? Anything pleasantly or that you kind of wish you'd maybe anticipated?
A pleasant surprise was how willing to engage the guests and the visitors of the show were. There, I don't know what I was expecting with a sort of... I think maybe I was expecting it to be like when you walk into a clothing shop and someone was like, "Hi guys, can we help you?" Like, "No thanks, we just like to look." Whereas today, people wanted to ask questions. They wanted to know what you were showing and what you had to offer. And yeah, so that was really enjoyable. The other thing that I've discovered is that people really like to steal pens. Like, we've got lots of other things to give away, but I've now resorted to putting my pen in my back pocket because it's the last one I've got, and it's only day one.
See, I heard that your stand was the worst for going around and stealing
I don't
pens.
know what you're talking
I
about.
There's a pen collecting challenge from your stand.
All right, so
so
it may have been that we may have retaliated. I don't think it was quite initiated, but retaliated when we'd lost all our
I
pens.
see. So it's more of a
A regathering,
a
a repenning of our stand.
See, it wasn't painted to me like
But
that makes sense, yes.
Oh my gosh, we've got pen wars happening at the show to be nice and nice.
Competition as to who could get the most pens, but that I feel was completely separate.
we're going to come in tomorrow morning. There's just going to be a mountain of stolen pens.
Yeah,
Like pen amnesty.
Central RPL, we're ready for day 2. Come and get everybody else's pens. Mine's in my pocket though.
So apart from going out and buying a lot more pens tonight, so that you've got spare ones,
/ gathering them from the
what's in store for all of you guys tomorrow? What are you changing based on what you've learnt today? What is anything you're thinking about doing differently?
No, as far as we're concerned, we're quite happy with kind of how everything's gone. It's all been really smooth. So I say that and then touch wood, but everything's kind of gone to plan. So yeah, we're expecting a lot more visitors tomorrow. So while today we've kind of had times when people can kind of get off and we've been able to kind of take breaks to keep the stand staff kind of refreshed, and that tomorrow's going to take a little bit more managing in order to be able to kind of get people off the stand when they need to have a break and that. So because.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I was going to say, today's felt like a really lovely warm-up.
Yeah.
You've been able to get comfortable on the stand, get comfortable in the environment. I mean, we all know our products, we all know but it is different doing it somewhere else.
Yeah.
With other people around and with all the other noises, and you're sharing a space. And so, sort of, warmed up and ready to go for tomorrow. And
as you say, a lot more people.
Exactly, it's going to be busy.
You need to have that time. Yes. Everyone's kind of got familiar with it.
The dress rehearsal, done. Yeah, curtains up tomorrow, one away.
We're bringing in the office.
There we go.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
And anybody changing their shoes tonight for a more sensible pair?
Yeah.
Mark. I'm glad I've changed.
Things are the most uncomfortable things.
We've got
in the world.
slip-on Converse.
That's the trend.
I was told that Converses are the best shoes ever, as long as you put a new insole in.
Well, that's the bit of information.
Cowboy boots.
I like the
good boss.
That's like
Charlotte's in heels.
And stilettos, I probably
I remember doing exhibitions in heels, and when the Converse was suggested, it was like brilliant.
It's better,
I've just noticed a genius thing. So I love my slip-on Converse, but they're about 7 years old and falling apart, and I can't get any more slip-on Converse from anywhere. But you've just taken the laces out of yours.
Boom. No, they are slip-ons.
Are they actual slip-ons? I thought you'd just taken the laces out.
Yeah, no.
They're very cool.
They're still the back. The back. We ordered Holly, obviously we're sat here talking about it now, but there's a team of us that has worked really hard on putting the exhibition together, and the fact that everybody's been able to have their own creative input into it is kind of representative of how we work at Alutech anyway, isn't it? That we are all quite individual, and everybody's been allowed to bring a bit of that. So when we said let's wear Converse, everybody was just straight away on board. Yeah, and then Holly made it happen. That's generally what happens.
Absolutely, yeah.
Holly
and
made
again,
it
it's all linked in with the car, and so the car's blue, so that's why we're in the attire that we're in, isn't it? So.
And it's interesting to hear you talk about including the team and them being part of it. And Mark, I know we've done some work with you, and we had a session where your team set the rules for how they were all going to behave on the stand, which was quite an interesting experience.
It's funny, this morning a few of the guys started flexing those rules a little bit as well. Even I went round and I went to our head of sales, went, "You grouping?" And he went, "Oh no." So I quite enjoyed flexing those, but I think, as I said, it's been a nice warm-up day, and I think everyone is prepped for tomorrow as being the busier day out of the 3. So we've got loads of pens, so that's one thing we've said today, is we haven't given away enough giveaway bags, so we've got a surplus still from today. So if anyone wants a pen, ours come with notepads.
Win tomorrow.
Ours come with notepads as well, so come over, we've got loads.
A notepad and a pen. I am definitely the Maco
That's
stance
the way to go.
Becky, you mentioned the team and how important that is. We started with Central RPL and ASL. We started looking at this in December of last year, and it's through that team contribution and teamwork that we've been able to get here. And I couldn't imagine doing it without everybody. And we have, and Gary, our CEO, as everybody else on the team. I mean, we've had weekly meetings, certainly in the last little while, and it's really reassuring when you get onto the stand with a group of people that are as invested as everybody else is there.
Everyone steps up.
Exactly.
Everyone steps up.
And it's so we're all working, but it doesn't feel like hard work.
It's a lovely feeling, isn't it? That
you can really be proud of what
that
it is
team
you've done
spirit,
together.
and you can feel it.
Cheesy, but it's true.
No,
it is. Everyone steps up their game. Everyone's been involved. It's been great, and like you said, everyone has an input that is worthy. So I think everyone sees something different from a different perspective, and I think when you bring it all together, actually, it's spot on every time.
And the visitors to your stand see that, they feel it,
they
feed off it, and definitely.
You can rely on everybody else on the stand that if you're busy talking to somebody else, you know that whoever's going to be able to say, I can speak to you about this while we're waiting. So, and and have you got any other questions? And it's all just organic.
Mm-hmm. It sounds fantastic. We've got a really engaged group of people because we do exhibitions week in, week out all over the place, and you go around a few and there's people stood there on the phones, or they're eating, or they're grouping, or they're but you guys all sound like you've really got stuck in and been approaching visitors and starting those conversations. So this is the kind of enthusiasm that we buzz off from at exhibitions, but you don't get it in every, definitely.
You only get out what you put in, don't you?
Yeah.
Exactly. You can sit on the stand with kind of your back to people, or like giving out vibes, and like those people that are quiet, and you kind of see the difference in the stands, don't you? And I think visitors can kind of pick up on that.
For sure.
And it kind of looks like a group of people they want to be involved with. And
yeah, absolutely. That looks like it's a cool place to spend some time and chat to people.
I think it's testament to what they've done with the Fit Show brand themselves. I remember the first Fit Show, and actually they set their stall out right from the start. And credit to Fit Show as well as the industry that have then embraced it and got behind Fit Show and understood the concept of it, and they've sort of run with it. And because of that, then you do get the atmosphere that everybody's there for the same thing, with the same thing in mind, and a very similar attitude. And I think visitors must be drawn to that. It must be hard for them not to join in the spirit of that. I think it feels like very much a celebration of the industry, and I think companies go into it wanting their stand to be a celebration of them and their people. And that's what it all combines together to be a really successful event.
And is that the same for you guys? What does the Fit Show mean to this industry? Like
you say, it's grown over the years. I think everyone resonates with the brand. It is a build-up, and I think it sort of goes back to what we were saying earlier on about you've got to be jolly. Everyone, our customers and our partners, they make the effort. It's business days. They come in from work. They're not in the factories. They're not in the office. They're coming to the Fit Show. You gotta be happy. You gotta be jolly. You got to give them 110% because they've made the effort to come, and I think that is because of the Fit Show brand, and all the exhibitors jump on board with it as well. So I think it is, like I said, it's the spirit of fit, almost the whole industry, from customers and partners to the exhibitors, and everyone has to play their part for it to all come together and work as well as it does.
I think as well, like as an industry, we saw an exhibition die, like we saw Glassex finish, and then we felt kind of the pain of not having a show for our industry. So I think we all feel invested in making this show work, because we don't want that again. Like we need to have a forum to be able to get out and speak to people. So we all have to take ownership of making this work so that we don't see it die off like the last one. So.
Interesting. So it's 3 days, and it's going to be a packed 3 days. Hopefully you're going to have some great conversations. We're going to get people interested in the 2CV challenge. We're going to get people looking at new products, innovations. So what do we all do come Friday when you're back in the office? How do you keep all this goodwill going? How are you all going to extend the longevity of your investment past Thursday?
Communication with the people that we make. It's making sure that we have conversations with them in a personal way, rather than just sort of sending out stock emails or something like that. It's having names. It's having notes about the conversations you had, because then again it makes the customers or potential customers feel as if you've connected with them. So I know for me a really big thing that for our team the big thing is making sure that we've reconnected with the prospective customers. That seems difficult. I haven't even hit the Gen stage.
It's just been a long day. So anybody else, how are we going to keep it going past that?
I think it's a big investment from, as I said, from our customers and partners to come along, as well as the exhibitors. And I've seen loads of cameras around. I think sounds cheesy, but it is follow up from a personal level. But it's as well as making as much content this week when our partners are with us face to face, which is so important, on our stand with our brand, interacting with different products, with our people, and bringing it all together and giving it that longevity that it needs. It is follow up, but making it personal. Mm-hmm. It's using all this content. We're going to be imagery, videos, brochures for the next 6 months, if not longer. It's using it again. It's not never talking about the fit show after today, never using an image of the fit show. We're all product based, and again, those products won't die, and we can go, look, you come onto the stand, we've used the word, we've hijacked Connect and called Maconnect. You come onto the stand, we've made a Maconnection, if you like, and then just continue it and always relate back to, this is, you saw it at the fit show, we had this discussion at the fit show, and hopefully it'll bring it back to a good memory when they come to stand there with happy, with smiley faces, and I think that's what it's all about.
Along with the people that we've connected with on the stands, it's also
I'm trying to make it a thing. You gotta help.
So along with the Maconnections that we made, here we go. I'm probably going to lose my job.
You can record that. Just loop that round and round. That's it. Just loop that.
That's the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's it.
So everyone can say it as well. Get your voice and drop perfect.
It's the team debrief that I think is going to be really important, because each of us have gone out and connected with other businesses in the industry and spoken to them and observed what other companies are doing and how they're approaching it. And so we have the opportunity to have a conversation about how we move forward based on what we've learned at the show. So it's a really fantastic opportunity to expand and innovate and just explore where we can go.
I think that's definitely the case for us as well. I was never looking at Fit Show as a 3-day event. It's always sort of been 6 months pre-Fit Show, 6 months post-Fit Show, and so Fit Show effectively becomes a full year. And so it is a lot about the follow-up. Obviously, we'll be gearing up towards the 2CV challenge next year, and the company that has been part of our Fit Show campaign, so that will continue to be something that we follow up. And just echoing what you've said, I was reprimanded yesterday by Paul, our general manager, because all I was talking about was I wanted that to be different. I'm going to follow up on that. I'm going to speak to them about that. And Paul said nobody knows how it was supposed to be. Stand back and look what we've achieved, and pause that, revisit it. And I'm already saying, right, so we need a meeting about processes. And it's like, hang on a minute, we've not even. It's the night before the show. We've not even.
And actually, by the end of the show, those revisions that you may have wanted to have made.
I must admit, I'm much more relaxed about it. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It becomes an organic thing in the end, and you just sort of have to allow it to do its thing.
Yeah.
And I think for the 2CV challenge, it's really the start of the journey now.
Absolutely.
This
that's true.
Has been the big exposure. We've talked about it a lot, and now people are starting just to live it a little bit and breathe it a little bit. So we've got so much work to do with all of the media that's going to surround that, and there's all of the people that want to get involved in us to help us publicise it, and some people that are going to come along with us and be able to do it. So that's going to be quite exciting.
And we've got 2 product launches as well later in the year.
We need another podcast.
Yeah, we do. We'll get you all back for the repeat episode.
Follow up.
And if anybody wants any little giveaways,
Yeah.
we've got these little stress cards.
I really wish that I just love it.
How many of these have we got? 1,000 still?
Yeah,
or whatever?
well,
So,
no.
No,
You
500.
could do those
So the
like
Maco
before
stand for the
show,
pens
Yeah.
and the Alutech stand for the cars.
For the cars,
Yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
And we ended up throwing them at people.
That's
when
one
they were
for you.
walking past us and catch. And the amount of people that just go, oh, and they were caught it, didn't they? It's brilliant.
I'm like,
So I am conscious that you guys have had a
Yeah.
really, really long day, and it's definitely time for you to go get some food and a beer. So we're going to wrap up fairly quickly. But I just want to ask one question. We'll start with Mark again. Sorry, just because you caught my eye.
I hope I can answer it.
If you could go to any exhibition in any industry in the world, where would you go?
I'm going to give a really boring answer.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay, go on.
There's this cool, I think it's called the Body Expo. It's like a health and fitness expo. It was on a couple of weeks ago here at the NEC. And the only reason I really want to go to it is I'm obsessed with the programme SAS Who Dares Wins. And the guys from there have created like a body camp thing you can go to for the weekend. I don't know why I want to do it, but I just want to go and get shouted at by ex-SAS soldiers and get told to jump down things and shoot guns and stuff, and get interrogated. And they have a mini experience at that exhibition, and I missed it this year, so I'm going to go next year.
Well, you've totally thrown me there, because I thought you were going to say the sock show.
No, I don't know if they do one. If they do one, I'm there.
Mark and his socks is another podcast
That's
episode. We'll get into that later.
I like to spend too much money on socks.
Mark, his socks, and his dog eating the socks.
Yeah.
A whole other episode.
It's a whole other episode, yeah.
Amy, your dream exhibition?
I think that, and I realise it's not industry, but I would probably move into Glyndebourne. I'd set up a tent in the garden where they wouldn't notice me, and just be there for the productions that they put on. They put on such a beautiful range of gorgeous performances. So I do that.
That's your dream event.
That's me. Yeah,
Brilliant.
tenting at Glyndebourne, probably not the normal, but yeah.
Brilliant. And Charlotte, where would you go?
Anywhere where you could kind of combine like really good food and wine, probably like somewhere in Italy. Like, yeah, that would be the perfect one. Maybe some outdoor music.
Yeah. Can I come to that one with you? I'll carry your bag, I'll do anything for that.
Like right now, I could just take me there now.
Yeah.
Do you not fancy the SAS Marine?
No.
Or tenting.
Well,
Sorry.
no, it was an open invite.
Filled with some cheese and wine.
It would know in Glyndebourne it'd be glamping. So yeah, so they'd be cheese and wine
In a posh tent.
in a posh tent. Yeah.
Still no
So,
ex-SAS soldiers at Catholic.
Why don't just do that? Yeah. We'll glamp in Italy with the cheese and the wine and some classical.
Sounds perfect.
Done, guys. That's
Tuscany,
where
here
I'm.
we come.
Yeah, Steve, what about yourself? Where would you
I think
go to?
favourite exhibition is the Canton Fair now in Shanghai, because there's just everything there. Anything you ever want to go for, and you can just get lost, and you just end up buying all sorts of stuff that you never ever thought you'd want or need, and invariably you don't. But it's just a fun event.
Brilliant.
Love it.
And Becky, Leslie, for you.
I think it would have to be something that involved a lot of live music. I mean, I think it would be a bit tenuous to say that a music festival was an exhibition, but I think
They're all exhibitionists.
It's an exhibition of different people's music. So I'd probably say it'd be a music festival, maybe Burning Man.
Very nice.
If we're doing a wish list, dream scenario.
Yeah. And the reason for asking you that is just to try and give that sense of what's getting you excited and what do you want to go and see, and hopefully the people listening will think, yeah, that's what I want to create on my stand. There's going to be somebody that's as excited about coming to my show on my stand. So thank you to everyone who's been here tonight. You've been absolutely amazing. We're going to do a quick whiz around the table. So Mark, you're going to be back in the office at the end of this week, and if people want to get in touch with you, how will they do that?
So you can find us at www.macouk.net, or our Twitter handle is UKMaco.
Brilliant. And Amy, how do people find you?
For the aluminium, that'll be centralasl.co.uk, or the PVCU side of the business is centralrpl.co.uk, and then our social handles are at Central RPL or at Central ASL.
Thank you. And Charlotte?
So we're edgetechig.co.uk, or on Twitter we're at edgetech UK.
Perfect. And Steve, how do people help support you on your challenge?
So what is it? Hashtag 2CV challenge.
Hashtag the 2CV challenge.
Thank you, corrected.
And if anybody wants any more details about how to get involved with helping Steve, then get in touch and we can pass some details on.
And you can all learn how Steve's going to be fueling this 2CV dressed as a... You explain what you're dressing as every time you go for fuel.
So one of my friends said to me, I'll give you 250 quid if you'll dress up as a French maid every time I fill the boat. So for me it's a really easy bet. So I'm just glad he's not in the car with me. Yeah, that'll be good.
But we'll also be posting information about the 2CV challenge, particularly on our LinkedIn, which is Alutech Systems Limited, and Twitter, which is @AlutechL.
Well, thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. Go get some sleep, and we will see you all in the morning.
Thank you.
So lots of useful advice and hints from our panel there, and that was a session we really enjoyed doing, and we'd love to do some more in the future. So if you're an event organiser and you think we could come along and host some of your exhibitors for a podcast panel, why not get in touch? We would love to hear from you. So if you were interested in Steve's comments about his 2CV challenge, then please do get in touch with us and we can share details. Incidentally, we have made our pledge and we are asking Steve or his co-driver to don a red lycra full bodysuit, including covering the head up, and do the Pro Extra Jumping Man star jump on a border crossing somewhere between the Alps and home. So we cannot wait to see the photographs of that. So that wraps up everything for today, and we can't wait for our next episode when we will be talking to Marlon Doyley, who is a sales manager for the London Vet Show, a show that's run by Closer Still Media. But interestingly, Marlon was also a winner of one of the recent Exhibition News Awards for Best Newcomer into the industry. So it's going to be a fascinating episode to hear everything from him about his challenges on joining the industry, what he's passionate about, as a young person entering the industry, what he'd like to see changed, and his favourite show in the world. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Don't forget you can get in touch with us via the website at www.inspiringexhibitors.com. And if you did pick up a copy of The Exhibitionist a couple of weeks ago and you have managed to digest it, we would love a review from Amazon, on Amazon from yourself if possible. We've got a couple there already, but every single one helps. So if you've loved the book, please do drop over onto Amazon and leave us a review. If there's anything else you need, please do give us a call, and happy exhibitioning.
Hop over now to inspiringexhibitors.com to subscribe to our newsletters, blogs and future podcasts, keeping you up to date with industry insight. While there, you can also find out more about our new book, The Exhibitionist, Inspiring Trade Show Excellence. Once again, thank you for listening.